Hi, and welcome to Gogo Diaries Story Time. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the story.
That's a lot of work
It is, it is, but it's exciting.
in terms of numbers. Can you hazard
Hey,
share how many you would come through your hands maybe in a period of a year?
hey, I can't put a number because the number is big. But what I can say, like for a basketball team that I coach,
Mm-hmm.
they are probably in a season, we register about 15 players.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you that in one season, like for example, just this year,
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you that maybe there are probably more than 30 kids that have passed through us.
Wow.
And this is just the ones that are in us. But in terms of generic, like we have about 3 kids that are also mentoring other teams like 12, 12, 12.
Mm.
That is 36. So the number keeps growing
Yeah.
every day.
Mm.
And then there are other kids that come through now. They just come through for mentorship. It's not like I coach their teams, but they just coming through and they say, Coach X, what can I do with my basketball? What can I do with my life? What can I do with this? I'm struggling. I think last week I can give an example. There's a boy, I've never spoken to him or anything. He just came to me and he says, Coach X, he's playing for another team that we are rival in the league, but he came and he said, Coach X, I'm struggling with my confidence. How can I become a better person
Wow.
in terms of my confidence?
Mm.
So he saw something that we are doing. So
Mm.
these are kids that come into the system, we mentor them, and they go and they're also making an impact
Yeah.
in their teams.
Yeah.
So that's why I say the number is just too much. I can put it in hundreds.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, over time.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they are boys and girls.
Boys and girls, but predominantly boys.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess it's easier for boys to come up in the open end because
Yes.
if his friend is playing basketball,
True.
yeah.
True. You have actually brought in another perspective or another dimension. We have boys that come in that don't play basketball, but they follow their friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then they like the system, they like what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
They also come to us for mentorship, and we also develop them
Wow.
and build them to be men.
Mm-hmm. Sure. You are doing a lot,
Yes.
and you are making a difference.
Mm.
One young person at a time.
True.
That's what I believe.
One at a
It's
time.
not about crowds.
Mhm.
It's one person
Mm.
at a time. And what I find interesting, X, is that um, you were not always a missionary.
Yes.
I knew you doing very well
Mhm.
in your given profession.
Yes.
What were you doing?
Um,
And what made you change your career?
I've worked in the medical aid industry. I worked in the medical aid industry for 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good profession. I loved what I was doing, but it was not my purpose. So my purpose was serving God, transforming lives.
Mm.
Yes, I could do that, but not behind the desk. So I really saw the need in our societies. From where I grew up in to where I am now, I saw a lot of gaps. I saw a lot of need, and I felt that was my God-given purpose to go and fit in and change the perspective.
Mm.
Yes, I know you've asked me this question, maybe which I would go back to. You asked me the end goal.
Mm.
The end goal is also why I do it.
Mm.
I want to say by an example of there was a young boy that I coached for a very long time. At one point, we just started talking about the aspect of forgiveness, about the issue of healing and everything. It was not specific to him. It was a discussion that we were having. So it took me days. I would just give him a call and we would talk. I don't know, my heart and my spirit was pushing me to do that.
Mm.
And then after 3 months, he sent me a message and says, Coach, I want to thank you because of what you said and what you did to me. He said, my dad died 9 years ago. and I'd never been to his grave because I was angry at him.
Wow.
But
Wow.
when you spoke about forgiveness, when you spoke about healing, I now went to his grave. I'm now at peace. I went to his grave and I started taking care of his grave and everything. And I understand he's my dad. Whatever he did to me, I forgive him. So,
Wow.
so for me, that's the reason
That's
why
the end goal.
the end goal. That's the reason why I had to leave that profession and get into this. The excitement of seeing a soul change, a person change, from becoming just another boy to an extraordinary man in the society.
It takes a lot of commitment.
It does.
And it's not just about you.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lovely wife
Yes.
and 3 beautiful daughters. And you are bringing these strangers into their space.
Yes.
Tell me about it. How do the girls, all 4 of them,
Wow.
manage?
Yeah, it's crazy because there are certain things that I prayed for in a wife, and some of them I did not see them when I was dating my wife, but I see them now.
Wow.
As we are going through our journey of life.
God answers.
So one of the things is how she relates with the boys that I coach, how she relates to ministry. I think she's also the one who actually pushed me to get into the deep end, because I had written everything down of where I wanted to go, my vision, my mission for life. So I knew where I wanted to go. I'd broken it down. So once she read that, she asked me the question that she just said, look, I've read where you want to go, I've read your vision and mission, and what are you doing about it? So I said, look, being a missionary is tough, because sometimes you're probably going to sleep on an empty stomach and all those things, because we depend on people that support us. And then she said, look, if it's God who called you to do this, then you take care of it.
Wow.
I'm okay with it. I would love to. So all the boys that come into my house or come into our house, she treats them like they are own kids. And my daughters have accepted it. And sometimes when I get home, they say, good evening, Coach Daddy or Coach X.
Oh.
So they've accepted that I'm a basketball coach. I get into a whole lot of things. And sometimes when I bring in the boys, sometimes there are a whole lot of them, they actually volunteer to give up their bedroom for these boys to sleep in their bedroom.
Wow.
And when they see these boys, they look at them as the big brothers that they never had or that they don't have. So to them, they have an affection that sometimes they now know the days that these boys come into their house. So when those days pass and there's no one comes, they actually ask,
What is going on?
what is going on? So they've accepted it and they're excited about it.
So your family has embraced.
They have embraced it.
Wow.
Yes.
Is there anything you could say to other people that are struggling with their children, with young people in their sphere, and they've no idea where to start
Yes.
across the globe?
Wow. So on the background of being from church, I taught teens and Sunday schoolers. So I think I've taught over thousands of those over the years. So I've seen that there are certain challenges and certain problems or certain statements that young people say. And one of them is that our parents do not understand us. You know, one thing that I want to urge and encourage parents is that take time to understand your children, take time to listen to them. Also be intentional with their growth process. You know, sometimes we as parents we want to use the same template that you use on the first child, and we want to use the same template on the second child when they're actually different. So we need to just treat kids as they are as separate individuals. And now, especially with this world where there's a lot of technology and all, we also need, if we are really invested in their lives, we also need to see what they're watching, what they're interacting with, and all. And also, it's not bad. I know the previous generation had a challenge with that, but as our generation grows and everything, it's not bad to befriend your child. When you befriend your child, you probably understand more things than you just do or that you see at face value. So I think it's very important. For keyword for me is be intentional with your children. I think that's, if there are any challenge that you face, be intentional. I think in their growth process, you actually find that there are more solutions when you're intentional than when you are not.
Wow. Yeah, because what I've realized is, I would say in Zimbabwe, I would love to say in Zimbabwe, but you know, I'm based in Sweden now,
Yes.
and I also interact with a lot of young families across the diaspora. And time is a challenge.
Wow.
It doesn't matter which country you are in. Most young people have a challenge with time. They are trying to bring bread to the table. That means that they have to be away from their children. When they now come home, they are tired.
Wow.
It's time to get a meal on the table, get them to eat. Maybe if we're lucky to do their homework, because the teacher expects the homework to be done. And then after that, it's bedtime. A week goes.
Wow.
How does a parent prevent that dysfunctionality in their child, given these difficult times we are going through?
That is a great question. I once encountered such a situation where a child actually ended up saying, look, if it means not you going to work so that I can spend time with you, let it be.
Wow.
So I think kids don't want 2 hours. They don't want 3 hours. They even want 5 minutes of you listening to them, of you having a conversation with them. And as you, especially if you have young children, as they are growing, you need to build trust. So I sometimes go away, and I go away for some time, for maybe a month or 2 months. But the most important thing that I've managed to do is always stay in touch with them, with each and every one of them. Sometimes I call them, and then I say, I just want to talk to you only. Because they've got to know that to them, they are important.
Yeah.
You value them so much that you can set aside 5 minutes just with that one child. To them, it's very important. Even if the other child sees that they're spending time with child A, what's important is that they see that and they know that daddy or mommy values us. So even when you're tired, there's that one day where you know maybe in a week you're going to spend 5 minutes with this one, 5 minutes with that one. So when you come back the next day when you're tired and you say, mommy's tired today, they understand it. They understand it.
When she's not tired, she gives us time.
She gives us time. You know, I remember there was a time when my wife was working and she would spend a lot of time. She'd come back when she's tired and everything. And then my kids would say, Mommy, we want to massage you. We want to massage your feet. So as they're massaging the feet, they actually talk. Your mommy is asking, how was your day? How was school? What happened today? Tell me everything that you did. So just those 2-3 minutes that they are trying to massage, they are actually creating a relationship that removes that gap. Because definitely, yes, things have changed over time where mom and dad are all going to work. So there's little time to spend with the kids. But whenever parents have time, show that this time I'm giving you all my time when I'm around.
I like what you say. They don't need 30 minutes. They don't need an hour. They don't need 2 hours or even 3 hours or 5 hours. They need 5 minutes. If you have 5 minutes
Yes.
of utter concentration and focus, being intentional, it helps the child when they're growing up. Then there will be less of them coming to your doorstep.
Yes. So it's I think for me also, what I've learned is taking, if you have time and you have the resources, take your child, each one of them out, maybe just for lunch or for breakfast, just the two of you, even if it's for 20 minutes. But what that does, it adds a lot of confidence, it adds a lot of value into these kids. So you actually find that if you are a dad, even just getting into the car when you're going to church, opening the door for your girl child, for them to get into the car.
Wow.
Those things are just, they are very important, because you're just telling them that, look, I value not you just as my daughter, but I value you as a woman, I value you as a lady. So these things, when they become basic, they also add up now. It lessens our burden as coaches. Because now when a child comes, they actually have confidence, they have self-confidence. So even if another man comes and opens the door,
It's not exciting anymore.
it's not exciting
My
anymore.
dad does it a better job.
You see,
Yeah.
so that becomes also a standard. You know.
Yeah.
So these are things that I think we as parents, we as coaches, we can actually do for our kids.
Hey, I'm thinking your son-in-law is going to be in trouble.
I don't think so.
Yeah, you have set the bar. So one last word
Yes.
to young people before we wrap up.
My last word, which may be advice, which may actually be a word of hope, is that it can be done. It can be done. I grew up in Glenview, and when I got to grade 7,
And Glenview, for those that don't know, is a high density
the high
suburb
density suburb.
in Harare. Yeah.
Yes. So up to grade 7, I couldn't speak a good line in English. But here I am now,
Fluent as ever.
speaking fluently, right? So if you are down there, just know one thing: it can be done. If you are losing hope, there is someone who can give hope. Speak to someone. If you are depressed, if you are suicidal, talk to someone. They can actually be there. If you don't have anyone to talk to, come talk to me.
What's your number, X?
My number is 0776 or plus 263 776 148 359.
Say it again.
Plus 263 776 148 359.
And it's on WhatsApp.
It's on WhatsApp as well. If you want to email me, it's xbranya and the number 8 at gmail.com. So xbwanya, the number 8 at gmail.com.
Thank you so much, X. I love what you're doing. I'm rooting behind you, cheering you on, because what you're doing is fundamental to the future of this country.
Yes.
One child at a time. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mama.
Thank you. And my friends, welcome to my village.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.